Hi, my name is Jessica Gallatin. This is for VETT 221, and I'm going to be going over task 19, which is going to be the medical note, filling out the patient's anesthesia log, and obviously your controlled drug log. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is, I'm just going to show you what I have here. My anesthesia log that's filled out from the patient's surgery. My controlled drug log, I wrote down the initial amounts that we started with from the drug, and then we're going to go ahead and write down the amount we used and then the ending amount that's going to be in the vial after we use our controlled drug. And you want to write down what drug was used, the date it was used, client's information, procedure, and then obviously you're going to signature everything that you recorded in the drug log as well. Also just want to go over my patient's medical history too. So the first thing, obviously, the procedure that is going to be recorded is a spay on this dog. The patient's history and everything as far as like exam. When you're putting this in your anesthesia log, you want to record your patient's ASA. Obviously, most importantly, your drugs, what kind of drugs used, the concentration of those drugs, and the route you use those drugs, and the time that you use those drugs. So real quick, I just want to go over what I've written down during the surgery and initially before the surgery. So for example, my hydromorphone, I wrote down its concentration or the dosage that we used, which is 0.05 mg per kg, and how many mils was administered, and that was IM, the route given for my pre-med. And then my induction agent was ketamine and midazolam. The ketamine was 11 mg per kg, and for the dose of that. And then my midazolam was 0.25 mg per kg. And then obviously I recorded the amount that was used and the route that it was given. Record all your patient's information here, the patient's date of birth, its weight in pounds and in kilograms, obviously. Like I said, make sure that your patient had, a previous exam, blood work checked out okay. Any kind of medical history on the patient, and things like that. Also, with your anesthesia drug log, besides the time that it was given, the rebreathing or non-rebreathing system that you used, made note of that. The endotracheal tube size that I used, and then also I made note of my recordings when I was monitoring the patient. What time I stopped anesthesia, what time I started anesthesia, that kind of thing. Also monitor a patient throughout the recovery too, all their vitals as well. So take vitals during monitoring of the procedure and monitor the patient when they're in recovery also. So that's my anesthesia log. Like I said, I filled this out. I filled the drugs out, but mainly what I want to talk about is the controlled drug log as well. And then this is just the patient's medical note, like what we did to the patient, and like I said, the drugs also, we record the drugs also that we used in this too. So let's go ahead and start filling out my controlled drug log, the drugs that I used for this surgery. So the first one, which was going to be my hydro for my pre-med, I'm going to date that, the drug that I used, the client's ID, so we'll write that. And then I'm just going to signature, because I'm the technician that's recording all this information. So if someone sees that we ran out of the drug too soon, or there's not enough for the next procedure, then we can see, where that was going exactly. They can come to me and say, hey, what's going on here? So that's the main purpose of the drug log. Also, it's very important to keep log of all the controlled drugs that we're using. By law, that's what we need to do. So the initial amount of the hydro in the bottle was 15.6 mLs from the last person that used it. So the amount that I'm using is 0.12 mLs that I'm using. So I want to subtract that from the initial amount that was in the bottle. So 15.6 minus 0.12 is what I used. So we want to write down the amount we used, and then the ending amount that should be in the bottle after, that's been subtracted. So that's going to be 15.5 mLs. And then the procedure it was for was going to be a spay. We're just going to put OHE. And then the next drug is going to be midazolam. The initial amount in the bottle was 8.8 mLs. So we'll go ahead and take 8.8 minus the amount that I used, which was 0.24. So 8.8 minus 0.24, it's going to be 8.6 mLs is the ending amount. And then record the amount that you used. So 0.24 mLs, and again it's for the same procedure. And we're just going to initial all of these. Okay. And then lastly is our ketamine. The initial amount in that bottle was 6 mLs. So we're going to take the amount that I used, which was 0.5, minus, subtract that from the initial amount. It's going to be 5.5 mLs is the ending amount. Okay. And then the same procedure. And then same date. Okay. So that's pretty much what you need to do for your controlled drug log. Also, you want to put your drugs that you use in your anesthesia log, as well as the patient's medical note history as well. So here's just my controlled drug log, and this is what it's going to look like every time. You're going to record your initial amount that started with from the last patient that used it, and then you're just going to subtract what you used, and then what's going to be the ending amount in the bottle. And then you're going to initial that and date it, and obviously record what drug you used. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, keeping control of your drugs and recording what you use and don't use, and recording everything out as far as patient history on all of your charts and your medical history, so you know that you got the right patient and you know you're doing the right procedure. So, and that's pretty much it as far as keeping your operative records on your patients. So that's it.